So we talked about these three players, but also we need to talk about Shanahan. We praise him, great play caller, better even play designer, a very good head coach much of the time. But Iggy, he's been a flop when it's come to getting quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
Again, I think of Bill Walsh. He had Joe Montana and he brought Steve Young in the building saying, Joe, I got this guy breathing down your neck. I want competition. I don't care if you like each other. I don't care if you like me. I want good quarterbacks.
Yep.
And Kyle has not had that sense of excellence or urgency. And as a result, he's been reduced. Larry, I apologize to Nick. And this was very hard for Nick to bring in a backup and say, carry the team. He's done very well in many ways, but
yes,
it was very hard for him. Kyle was not prepared. And what's more, he wasn't prepared with Jimmy because they knew he had an injury history and he didn't even like him at the end of last season, the way he used him. You could tell he didn't like him.
See, agree. But what I keep going to is CJ Beathard. Like, you have him on the roster. Nick Mullins has shown you things, and there's a reason why he's the number 2. He's had some really good games. He's had some bad games. Against Washington, he was self-destructing. I mean, the pick six, the fumble, not all his fault, but anyone does that, you get benched. If Steve Young did that, he'd get benched for that day. And the fact that Kyle Shanahan didn't feel comfortable going to CJ in that situation tells you that CJ shouldn't be in the NFL. Why are you on the team? And if he's been on the team 4 years, it's the only quarterback the Niners have drafted since Kyle Shanahan got here. Why? You're not developing him. He's wasting space. You could have got rid of him and drafted anyone else the last 4 years. Instead, 2 years ago, the Niners drafted a punter in round 4, a few picks before the Patriots drafted a quarterback. The Patriots are developing a guy named Jared Stidham who throws the ball. The Niners have a guy who kicks the ball. They brought this on themselves, Dad.
Right. So, again, big picture, this is a drastic lack of leadership from the head coach. Drastic lack of leadership. And the problems they are having now are not whether Mullins is a good quarterback or not, or whether you should go to CJ Beathard. The problem is, what did the head coach miss, fail to see, and why? And what's he going to do about it? That's the issue we're talking about now. Today is a big picture, and Kyle Shanahan in this regard did not get the big picture. He was blind to it.
And here's the thing. His tenure in Santa Clara and his career as a head coach depends on who he drafts as a quarterback this year. He has to get it right, period. If he gets it right, he's going to work out in Santa Clara. If he doesn't, he's gonna have a losing season next year, a losing season the year after that, and then he'll be 6 seasons deep with one winning season. He'll get fired. He needs to get this quarterback pick right, and he may, but we'll see. I mean, everything comes down to one thing.
Well, it's interesting. He needs to get this quarterback right, but he also needs an offensive line.
True,
and he also needs cornerbacks. And again, he's in a pickle. This is a self-imposed pickle. He put himself in this pickle.
Self-imposed pickle.
He's a self-imposed pickler. He's a pickler.
We got a $10 question from Joshua Wyatt, who is very generous. Thank you, Joshua. A scenario exists where the 49ers could control their own playoff destiny after Thursday, week 16. If the 49ers find themselves there, do you have to get Jimmy and Kittle on the field? Remember, they're not mathematically out of it. It's very unlikely. But if they win and a bunch of other teams loses or whatever, this could happen. Dad, in that case, what do you do?
That's a really good question. You know what? In that case, and this would mean going into their next to last game or their last game?
After Thursday, week 16. So the last game.
If they have a chance, oh boy, I would go for it.
Yeah, you can't. If they have a chance to get to the playoffs, you can't tell Kittle we're not gonna go for it.
Right. Jimmy, you better. A very bad message.
Yeah, Jimmy, you better. Debo, no, and that's why I asked earlier. Debo, no. Even if the season's on the line, week 17, he has a hamstring injury. No, he can't come back until the playoffs if that unlikeliest of scenario happens. No, with Debo. But George, okay, if you're okay, sure.
Yes, so I would say, the message to the team is we play as long as we have a chance. So, yeah.
I got one more thing I want to talk about with Kyle Shanahan. I gave him an A for his coaching against Washington. I felt it wasn't his fault. I went back and watched the film today, and I got one play I want to, and I'll talk about it on the film breakdown with Jack, but I want to talk about it with you. It seems to me Kyle Shanahan loses the same way when he loses. And it seems to me he lost the game on one play in this game. And you can blame Nick for it, but end of the half, they're up 7-6. Midfield, Nick had just completed a screen pass to Brandon Ayuk for 11 yards. In this situation, I think there was about a minute and 30 seconds left. The clock was running. To me, play for the field goal. You're about 15 yards away from the field goal. Run the freaking ball. It's 1st and 10. Instead, Kyle Shanahan calls 5 wide receivers, empty formation, and it's a fake screen, deep throw up the field to Kendrick Bourne. It doesn't work. It's well covered. Nick Mullins has to run away from a blitz. He fumbles. The Washington recovers and returns it for a touchdown. So instead of going up into halftime, up 10-6 if they got the field goal, or 7-6 if they didn't get the field goal, they were unnecessarily aggressive. They passed in a situation they should have run and gave up 7 points and went into halftime down. And that's when they lost, right there.
Okay, so you're criticizing the play call from Shanahan.
The play call, just the play call. Because to me, football is about field position and time management. The play might work. He's great at designing plays, but in that position, when you're up 7-6 with the defense who was shutting down the other offense and a backup quarterback who's getting no pass protection, that's the time to run. 1st and 10 at midfield with about 1:30 left. You should be playing for the field goal there. Shanahan took a shot deep. He was playing for the touchdown. He's a pass-happy, aggressive guy. And you see it in like crucial situations in the Super Bowls where he passes when he should have run. That's all I'm saying. One play.
I find it interesting that you're saying this. And haven't we seen with Shanahan that he makes mistakes at the crisis moment?
That's it. I mean, he's really, really good. His play designs are great. But every time he loses a game, you can pretty much look back to the end of the first half or somewhere in the fourth quarter where he just maybe the play design is good, but he calls a pass when he should run. He lost the Super Bowl because he was calling passes in situations where he should have run. Both of them. You can go to specific plays on 1st down, 2nd down, and in this one too. Like, Nick Mullins fumbled, but you should have run that situation. You should run.
Meaning it never should have come to Nick Mullins having the ball and getting it taken away.
If Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh were coaching the team and they were at 7-6 with that offensive line and that quarterback at midfield with 1:30 left, they would play for the field goal. They'd be very conservative. Kyle, he wants to go for it. And it's great, dude. But look who your right tackle is. Look who your quarterback is. Look who your right guard is. You just got to get basically 3 points is great. No points is cool. You can't fumble here. And he goes empty formation, which means there's not even a threat of a run. There's no like play action, nothing. It's just Nick, drop back, do a pump fake over here, then throw deep with a 5-man protection against a 5-man rush. Okay, a lot could go wrong there. If no one's open and no one is open, now he needs to scramble around like he's Steve Young. Well, what's going to happen? He's going to fumble. He's not Steve Young. He's Nick Mullins. So yeah, it's Nick Mullins' fault. Like he said, the coaching point in that play is to keep 2 hands on the ball. True. And the coaching point for you, Kyle, is to run the ball in that situation. Run the ball in that situation. Anyway.
I love it. It never should have come to that. And plus, he could have held Juszczyk in the backfield at least to protect his quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, okay. Final question before we move on. Not addressing offensive linemen, corners that all contributed to this year's disaster. Not addressing the offensive line and the corners all contributed to this year's disaster. Who would take the biggest blame, Jed, John, or Shanahan? Who do you think has the biggest say on the vision for the roster?
Shanahan.
Period. It's a one-word answer. Thank you for the question. It's Shanahan. Jed gets him what he wants. John pays. Excuse me. John gets him what he wants. Jed pays.